Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. We are in our studio space here at the VFS Cafe in Vancouver. That's at 390 West Hastings. And on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, when we're in town, we do EP Live, and you can come and join us and be a part of the audience. Today, however, is a Tuesday. So we have got a rundown for you. I had to remember the day in my head. This one's going out to Jamie Andrews saying, how do we get a rundown dedicated to us? All you had to do was ask, buddy. Here's your rundown. The superhero fan community is up in arms about just how dark The Dark Knight should be. Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman director Zack Snyder has reignited the debate on whether or not Batman and other heroes should kill people. When asked by fans at a recent charity screening about how his version of Batman appears to intentionally kill or murder several people, going against the character's long-standing rule, Snyder gave a surprisingly blunt response. He says that people should wake the fuck up and realize that times have changed and a darker world requires darker heroes. Snyder adds that he accepts the perspective of fans who think superheroes should still be innocent, but he feels that those interpretations are out of date. He finishes by comparing his darker take on Batman to that of the Killing Joke author Alan Moore. This has obviously generated a huge debate on social media, with most people coming out against Snyder's murderous interpretation of Gotham's favorite do-gooder. It's also worth pointing out that Batman vs. Superman underperformed at the box office and had a lower audience score than most Batman movies, which is one of the main reasons why Snyder was replaced on the follow-up Justice League. Yeah, I think Snyder is definitely wrong about this as it pertains to Batman. Batman's already dark. He already has to instill fear, but it's about really severely hurting criminals, not killing them. He doesn't do any justice if he's just blasting away with machine guns on his Batmobile. I've always had a problem with there being weapons and guns on Batmobiles. I think that's just totally antithetical to what Batman kind of stands for. He learned early in his career that guns make him a criminal, that it puts him at the same level of the people that he's supposed to be stopping. And I think it's crazy to turn Batman into a murderer. And it really makes the character, if you're thinking of trying to, make him a believable vigilante in a real world, that guy would be stopped instantly. There would be like SWAT teams and the FBI, and there would be cops from all over the world swarming to stop the Batman from running around killing people on the streets. And how would people feel safe? They would think that this guy's like there's this serial killer out there in a bat suit. I mean, it just does not make sense at all. And I really can't stand that he's trying to, appropriate Batman and place him in context of some of the darker takes that we've had out there. Even The Dark Knight Returns was kind of like a morality tale. It was like, don't let Batman get this dark, I mean, there were reasons for why he became murderous in that story, but it was also like, let's not get this far. Let's not go off the rails this much. And dude had the opportunity to introduce Ben Affleck, who physically made a great Batman, and he turned him into a killer. It was a stupid move, and it was a bad movie, and it disappointed lots of people, including yours truly, who loves Batman. And I actually like Justice League a little bit more because Joss Whedon stepped in and said, whoa, let's not go killing everybody that's on screen. Yeah, Snyder, you are way off base with this. Please stay the hell away from my Batman, okay?
I believe you.
Will Smith isn't the only genie coming out of the lamp this year. Way Forward Technologies has announced Shantae V, an all-new adventure featuring their half-genie hero. They haven't released any footage yet, so we don't quite know what to expect, but judging by the previous games, players can expect colorful platforming action with different genie superpowers at their disposal. It's also unclear if Shantae V will be the final title of the game. All the previous entries had subtitles instead of numbers, so we'll have to wait and see. We do know that Shantae V, or whatever it's called, is coming to the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch later this year. It's also coming to iOS devices and will be one of the first games available through the new Apple Arcade subscription service, which was just announced yesterday. I love the last Shantae game that I played. I had a total blast playing that. They're beautiful old school games, just like Way Forward has reveled in for many years and really excelled at creating for us for many years. And Shantae's a very cool hero, man. She's got a great cast of characters, and there's a good sense of humor and lots of cool abilities. Looking forward to what Shantae V is going to be all about, and I'm also, honestly, very much looking forward to what Apple Arcade is going to be all about, too. I think that's a pretty huge announcement. Hopefully it's all cool. Another colorful side-scroller is about to punch and kick its way through the mean streets of rage. Take a look at the first gameplay footage from Streets of Rage 4, the all-new game in the classic Sega beat-em-up series. As you can see, it looks like it's staying true to the big character look and feel of the originals with a retro cartoony art style that contrasts with the violence on screen. Streets of Rage 4 actually isn't being made by Sega. They've instead licensed the rights to French publisher .emu, with Sega seeing this as a way to increase the value of their franchise with little risk to themselves. They have a similar deal with the upcoming Shenmue 3 due out later this year. We still don't have a release window for Streets of Rage 4, and they haven't even confirmed what platforms it's coming to, so it might be a next-gen game. Oh, I think it's going to absolutely be on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the Switch. I think it's going to proliferate, and it will absolutely be playable on whatever the new systems are going to be in 2019 or 2020. But I think this is huge news, and I think it points to a new direction for a lot of publishers out there. Nintendo's doing this with their new Zelda and the Crypt of the Necro Dancer hybrid game, where publishers with huge IPs that just can't put teams on these games fast enough to satisfy public demand can work with other outside external developers and have them curate and do something really special with brands and characters that we love. Sonic Mania is an excellent example. I think even Iron Man VR that Camouflage is working on is another excellent example. Camouflage was a true indie studio working on its own content. But I think Marvel and Sony realized that this is a team of talented developers that can take a property that we know and love with Iron Man and build something special out of that. But I think this is really cool. I'm psyched to see what .emu does with Streets of Rage 4. The game looks really fun to me already. It's a bittersweet day for fans of adventure games and The Walking Dead. The final chapter of the episodic game The Walking Dead, the final season from defunct developer Telltale Games, is now available. Known as Take Us Back, the final episode is out on all platforms, bringing an end to the story of Clementine, who players first met when the original game landed back in 2012. Not only is this the end of the game series, it's also the end of Telltale Games. The studio surprised everyone by abruptly closing their doors and laying off their staff in September of last year, shortly before the release of the second episode. And the game was only finished after another studio, Skybound Games, swooped in to pick up where they left off. Skybound, incidentally, is owned by Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman, who obviously has a vested interest in seeing this game come to a conclusion. They actually hired many former members of the Telltale staff to finish the project, but it's unclear how many of them will stay on now that the final episode is here. Whatever team size Skybound kind of grew to be able to finish this series, I think if they could try to keep that and keep a momentum going with some of these interactive comic book adventure titles like this, they could have some really, really successful projects. And I think we should send them tweets and say we want that. Yes? Who's with me?
Everybody dies. It's not really up to us anymore.
Here's a cartoonish new game that I definitely won't be playing with my kid. The new VR game, Trover Saves the Universe, from Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland, is set to launch May 31st on the PlayStation VR and PC. It's a colorful third-person platformer where you control a purple alien named Trover as he struggles to do what else? Save the universe. But don't let the cartoonish appearance fool you. Like Rick and Morty, the game is filled with crude humor and profanity.
You have no idea how fucked things are because of your two stupid dogs.
Complete with Justin Roiland doing the voices for many of the characters, so it certainly sounds like Rick and Morty.
Oh yeah, this is definitely the right place.
Trover Saves the Universe is the second release from developer Squanch Games, a studio that Roiland co-founded a few years ago specifically to make VR games with this kind of humor. The first title, Accounting Plus, launched back in 2017. I want to try this out. It feels like VR's got a little bit of a gust of wind right now with the recent announcements that Sony made with all of their VR titles. This guy is incredibly talented, this Justin Roiland, and he makes funny things, so I'm psyched to check this out. But yes, I'm definitely not putting the headset on Ruby. I'm not letting her check that out till she's a grown adult.
Man, I don't have time for this bullshit. I got a motherfucking sword!
And speaking of virtual reality, we're getting a better idea of what to expect from No Man's Sky in VR. Yesterday, Sony announced that a special VR version of the outer space exploration game is coming to the PlayStation VR. Now, developer Hello Games has revealed a few more details. They say the VR version will not be a separate mode or mini-game, but instead full VR support for the existing game. That means you'll be able to play through the whole game and switch back and forth between VR and standard viewing and interact with players using both. It's also not just coming to the PlayStation VR because it will also support Steam VR headsets on the PC. VR is coming as part of a wave of new content content that Hello Games is calling No Man's Sky Beyond, which also includes a new multiplayer update that will add MMO-style features to the game. Expect it this summer. Listen, I've already checked out No Man's Sky in VR in the sort of big picture mode when you stick the VR thing, because it's a feature that I've clearly, and many other No Man's Sky players out there and fans have wanted from this game for a long time, so it's great that it's coming. This is a game that just screams virtual reality immersion and being inside your cockpit of your spaceship and landing on a different planet somewhere and exploring it firsthand. I'm super psyched about this update, and it absolutely is going to get me back into space of No Man's Sky. Super cool. I really have to give a shout out to Hello Games for taking the time and, committing themselves to this project and continuing to kind of deliver lots and lots of reasons to stay invested in this game. And finally, we just want to end with some bad news about Electronic Arts. They've had to lay off about 350 people today, and our hearts go out to all of those that are affected and all of those people that are at Electronic Arts watching their friends leave. It's been a trying few months for the video game industry with layoffs all over the industry, and I think that's a sign of a lot of tumultuous change. I mean, we've got streaming services coming up all over the place. We've got a lot of these free-to-play games that are creating havoc in the space and taking a lot of people's times. We're seeing the looter-shooter battles and the battles of the Battle Royale games. The business is really evolving, and this sort of happens on a cyclical basis as we're about to transform into new hardware, as we're about to sort of get the new generations of console and the new power that's headed our way. I hope that everybody lands on their feet. What I have seen in my 25 years of covering the video game industry is that people do land on their feet and they find a new company to work with, or they start indie studios. And so my best wishes go out to everybody at Electronic Arts, and I hope you are all doing okay today. All right, you guys, that wraps us up for the rundown. Thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow, we are back with a brand new episode of EP Live. And on the show, we have a director of photography. It's the first one that we've had on EP Live. His name is Corey Robson, and he has worked on fantastic shows like Arrow. So I can't wait to talk to him about it. The show starts at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. You can watch the stream, or you can come down and join us in person right here in our space at the VFS Cafe, which is at 390 West Hastings in Vancouver. Love to see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Play forever.